Hello and welcome to the newest edition of PBS, the Plebeian Broadcasting Service. My name is Tiberius Aurelius, and I will be your host for today. The year is currently 494 BCE, and we are gathered here today at the peak of Sacred Mountain, where outside are thousands of plebeians who are set up camp here to protest their oppression and lack of rights. The formal name for this event is called the First Secessio Plebis, the first secession of the plebs, which would mark it as the first major event in the conflict of orders. With that being said, we have a man with us today named Cornelius Armadius, who will give us some further insight and outlook on the situation today. Here is Cornelius.
Well, I want to start out by saying that the oxygen levels appear a little bit tight on the lungs, so if I sound a little weird, that's why.
That's fine. Cornelius, would you please explain to us what it exactly is that you're trying to achieve up here?
Well, first and foremost, most of us up here are veterans of several Latin wars, such as the most recent one against the Volsci tribe. However, after we come back from the war, what do we get in return? Our taxes and interest rates are raised and 99% of us can't pay them off. What happens when we can't pay our debt off? The wealthy patricians strip us of our land, belongings, torture, and jail us. And then they turn us into slaves who must do physical labor to pay our debts. Oh, and not to mention, we're still not getting paid. So I guess to summarize our ambitions here today, we hope to erase our debts to wealthy landowners, gain representation in the government, and to finally be acknowledged for immense efforts as the valiant soldiers and hardworking farmers of this nation.
Geez, that's a handful. I'm sorry that all of you went through that. Now, Cornelius, just out of curiosity, what is it that you're wearing today?
Oh, well, this is my tunica, which is essentially a standard piece of clothing worn by every commoner or plebeian. It is made out of an inexpensive wool felt and is much worse in quality compared to the white linen tunics that the patricians wear. The plebeians wear the black one. The togas that are commonly associated with Roman culture were actually a much more formal and elaborate garment, mostly worn by Roman citizens of higher social status, such as senators and patricians. The toga was originally introduced by the Etruscans and was a cloth made of thick white wool wrapped around the body, usually about 20 feet in length. To add to this, shoes also indicated social status. Patricians wore expensive red sandals with an ornament at the back, or red shoes called the calcae malae.
Okay, I see you, Cornelius. I appreciate thy drip. Would you mind telling me, audience, a little bit about your daily life? You know, stuff like housing arrangements, stuff you do for fun, maybe what your job is like.
Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I pretty much start off my morning by sharing some loaves of bread with my family for breakfast. And if they're too dry, we dip them into wine or water. And on a good day, we might have some olives, cheese, or raisins sprinkled on the bread. Unfortunately, we do not have any running water in the house. Oh, and it's not a house by any means. It's an apartment called a flat located above our family-owned shop where we sell fabrics, garments, and accessories. The worst part is that ever since I came back from the war, our family's debt has caused the government to take our shop. So we've been living on our last remains trying to make ends meet. But at least we're not enslaved like a lot of the friends that we know. Anyway, back to the no running water. What we usually do is we either haul water in from public aqueducts or we head down to the thermes, also known as the public baths, and we clean ourselves up there. I also must mention that the caldariums are my favorite. The caldarium was the hot room in Roman public baths. It was an essential part of the bathing sequence in the Roman bathing ritual. The term caldarium is derived from the Latin word calidus, meaning hot. The high temperature and humidity in this room were designed to promote sweating and relaxation all at once. There were as many as 900 public baths in Rome, and they were always packed.
All right, cool. What about entertainment? What do you usually like to do for fun?
I'll be honest, Tiberius, I haven't had any real fun since the recent wars, man. But prior to them, whenever I acquired a tiny bit of free time, my sons and I would attend public games and festivals hosted by our communities. Our favorite used to be seeing the chariot games, specifically the ones at Circus Maximus, which was a massive chariot racing stadium where people of all social classes could attend.
Perfect. That was my last question. So I'm going to try to conclude this small interview by thanking you for answering my questions. So honestly, I hope that all the plebeians finally attain the freedoms that they deserve and that your efforts aren't all for nothing. You have a great day, Cornelius.